A local couple is harnessing their shared history and heart to help others. From grief to growth, their focus to guide people on a path toward healing and how you can take part. But first, here's what's coming up next on World News Tonight with David Muir.
Action News live at 3 with Vanessa Vasconcelos and Stephen Hicks. Taking action together. This is ABC30 Action News.
A local couple is helping others impacted by significant loss through their nonprofit, Grief to Growth. I sat down with Kari and Matt Perkins to hear about their book that aims to guide people through the grief process. We know that the both of you have significant loss. You were both widowed in 2015, and you two met each other. Tell me how that impacted this journey.
I think the process for us, we were both going through counseling. We actually met through, we were seeing the same counselor, and I think the uniqueness of both of our stories, where it was just, oh, okay, somebody understands what we're going through. And that, through that process, I think we wanted to develop material that we noticed a lot of the same questions that people would ask us, whether it was messaging us online, talking about our story, asking for advice. And so we started looking at saying, all of these same questions are being asked, so how do we help people and give them tools and resources just through this process, because we're not the only ones.
Yeah, and not finding anything for us when we were walking through this, and we wanted to change that.
Something I want to touch on, both the book and the program touch on this a lot. It's not about moving on, it's about moving forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing for us, because a lot of people, they will look at us and even say, well, you got married, you remarried, so now you moved on. And I think that is one of the key things that is I know that they don't mean it, but it can be offensive. We didn't move on from our grief. We just had Christmas and our combined 7 kids and
their families. And
there's effects and impacts of grief that stay with you, but instead of being something that you push away from, that's something that you can embrace and say, okay, how do we move forward? How do we honor our loss in a way that is really helping? It helps us and it helps our kids, and just being able to go through that process, it's very very helpful and healing in that process.
I think that speaks volumes to what I'm sure a lot of people in the Central Valley are dealing with right now. They just went through Christmas, possibly the first one without a loved one. Tell me about that grief resurfacing. You mentioned in the book that it's normal.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing, is just letting people know that what they're walking through
is normal.
It's a normal process, and also that grief, sometimes people will feel like, well, I can't be grieving because no one close to me has died. But grief surfaces in the area of lost careers, lost relationships, a health diagnosis. There are people that are caregivers that they're walking through grief even though the person that they're grieving this process, and they're still here. They haven't died. And so it impacts in so many different areas, and that's why rather than putting labels on the types of loss, ours is, we were both widowed, but we've also walked through job loss, career change, moving, and just letting people know that you can make it, and there is still hope and purpose for your life, even moving forward, that you can take those difficult things and keep moving.
Right. Yeah.
I think that serves as a lot of validation for people and their feelings. Let's chat about something that you mentioned. There's no one right way to grieve. There are many different ways. Everyone's process is unique.
Right. Yeah, it is. It's very unique to each person. So giving yourself some grace and, and be able to just take that in strides,
Yeah, and even in our grief, it can resurface in different ways in our lives, and it affects in so many different dimensions, from our cognitive. Sometimes it's hard to focus, it's hard to concentrate, and so there's so many different areas that it becomes difficult. But it's a unique journey, and we're all on our own path. We just want to give a guide and a help, saying you're going to make it, and here are some tools and
There's
resources.
some days that you're going to take, you know, you'll take 2 steps forward, and then there might be a day that you take a step back, but being able to recognize that and to keep moving forward, even when you do feel like you fall back.
And now your book, it's already topping charts on Kindle. Tell me a little bit about just the reception that you guys have gotten.
It's been overwhelming. It's exciting. It's been a process through this whole year. I think if it shows anything, like, it's exciting to see that there's some in the new release categories that it's, you know, hitting some areas. I know the first time when I saw it, I was like, can you believe this?
Oh my gosh, look at this, look at this.
Yes.
But I think the biggest thing is it's an indicator that this is a need that people have, and the exciting thing for us is knowing that we can help others who are walking through similar things as us, and just hey, we don't have everything figured out, but we have learned some things in the process, and so if we can help others and just say, hey, we're on this journey with you, here's some ways that you can go forward.
Matt and Kari, thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
You can check out the Grief to Growth Pathway. It's available on Amazon and at grieftogrowth.org. There you can also sign up for an in-person 8-week session that begins Tuesday, January 16th.